So we said that if the velocity is changing, there are two things. Number one, there is an acceleration, okay? Number two, there is a resultant force or net force. This is a very important point to be said. So we have two situations. If the velocity is constant, so there is no acceleration, okay? And there is no resultant force or net force, okay? And if the velocity is changing, there is an acceleration and there is a net force. Now let's talk about the acceleration. What is the acceleration? The acceleration is the rate of, this is the average acceleration, by the way, okay? It's the rate of changing velocity. It's the rate of changing velocity. Can I say it's the rate of changing speed? No, it's not accurate, okay? Except for one case, if the motion was in one dimension, one direction. So it's the rate of changing velocity. This is the acceleration. And as you know, it has the symbol of what? A. Okay? A, like any A. Okay? We can say that A or average A equals delta V divided by delta T. Okay? And we know that the delta V is V, which is the V at any instant, minus V0, which is the initial velocity or the initial, the velocity at the beginning of the motion, divided by delta T, which can be written as T also, as we will see inshallah in kinematics equation. Okay, so we can write delta T or T. Okay, if we want to find the measuring unit of the velocity, the acceleration, we can easily put the measuring unit of, so now we have a numerator and the denominator. Okay, here in the denominator, we have what? We have second, which is the measuring unit of the time, and the measuring unit of the numerator, which is velocity or change in velocity, is meter per second. So the measuring unit of acceleration is what? Is meter per second squared. So the SI unit of acceleration is meter per second squared.
Mr. I have a question.
تفضل.
Mr. VO هي V final.
لا VO V initial وهنكتب الكلام ده ان شاء الله رب العالمين. يعني هنكتب ان شاء الله الكلام دوت. تمام؟ VO هي ال V initial و V هي ال V final. تمام؟ و T هو التايم انترفال اللي هي بتبقى almost يعني ال V at any time يعني. تمام؟ جميل جدا جدا. طيب احيانا ممكن نسميها في فاينل لو حبينا، يعني لو لقينا نفسنا هنتلخبط ممكن نسميها في فاينل، لكن هو في ال external exam في الشيت قصدي ما بيستخدمش كلمه في فاينل دي، بيستخدم في وخلاص. تمام. لكن imagine يا مستر, imagine that we wrote, if we write V final VF, okay, will we reduce marks? Never. انسى خالص. Never. لا طبعا. Stupidity if this happens. طب can it happen? لا 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 لا. Okay. طيب. Now طبعا we have to know, to remember that the acceleration is a vector quantity. Okay, so it has a magnitude and direction. And because it has a direction, it may be positive or negative. And that leads us to a very important point, which is called the sign convention. Sign convention of acceleration and velocity. Where velocity is V or VO. Okay, velocity is V or VO. They are the same. Okay, طيب. We agreed together that if we have opposite directions or something like that, we have to make we don't have, like, it's preferable. It's the commonly used in AP. We may make, it's preferable to make the direction to the right as positive, the direction to the left as negative, the upward direction is positive, the downward direction is negative. But the question now is, what is the meaning of negative acceleration? Can you answer me? So the meaning of the negative acceleration.
Mister, does it mean it's slowing down, or?
It means slowing down. This is who, Kirwai?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Kirwai. Okay, it makes sense to say it's slowing down if we take the direction over. So I'm not saying it's wrong. Okay, like it makes sense. It makes sense only if, like, we use the positive direction, or we take the direction of the motion as positive direction. Okay, but what if the object is moving to the left? So I'll give the direction of motion negative sign. Okay, so can I say that the negative acceleration means deceleration, this situation? I think it's not clear.
Can you repeat?
Huh?
Can you repeat?
Okay, it's not clear. Okay, it's not clear. Look, we have one over the following situations. If we have, this is V, and this is A, okay? If velocity is positive, which means that the velocity in a positive direction like this. For example, and the acceleration is also positive. So that means the velocity and the acceleration are in the same direction. That means the velocity is increasing. looks like as if we say that the acceleration supports velocity. This is completely, this statement is completely not is not scientific. Like it something like it gives, it looks like as if the acceleration supports velocity. Okay, like it means that rate of change of velocity is in the same direction as velocity. So it means the direction, the velocity increases. Okay, طيب. If the acceleration is negative, that means it's moving like this. But the velocity is also negative. Huh. Is it acceleration or deceleration?
Acceleration?
Yes, it's acceleration. It's a speeding up. Okay, why is it speeding up, Mr.? The acceleration is negative. Yes, the acceleration is negative, which means the change in velocity, the rate of changing velocity is in the negative, is to the left, for example, okay, and the velocity is to the left, and that gives this the meaning of increasing velocity. So the velocity is increasing, or it looks like as if we say, which is not scientific to say that, but it looks like as if we say that the acceleration supports force because it's in the same direction. You get the idea?
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Okay. So what about if the acceleration is positive or negative and the velocity is 0?
It's not moving then?
Okay, it's not moving for this instant. But what about the next instant? Will it say not moving? Or the velocity will change?
So I think the velocity will change.
Yes, because there is an acceleration. So, in fact, in both cases, there is speeding down because the velocity now is 0. But the next second, it will not be 0 because there is an acceleration. So it means the velocity will increase either in the positive direction or in the negative direction, but it will increase. So in all these cases, we can say that, or we can describe motion as speeding up. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's look at the following situation. If the acceleration is 0, if the velocity is 0, and the acceleration is also 0, so the velocity will stay 0. So this is the situation that we can judge as static object or stationary object or at rest, no motion. So the object here is at rest or static object. So when the velocity equals 0, that doesn't mean the object is at rest. From this analysis, we can conclude that, and this is a very important point, when the velocity equals 0, that doesn't mean the object is at rest. It means the object either at rest for this instant only, or the object returned to its initial position, okay, where the change in displacement is 0. You get the idea?
Yes.
Okay. So what about the deceleration, the slowing down, the retardation. Okay, this happens if the acceleration is positive, the velocity is positive, the acceleration is negative, or if the velocity is negative and the acceleration is positive. Okay, so in both cases, we can confidently say that this is slowing down. And in this case, we call acceleration as deceleration. So in this case, only the acceleration is called as, the acceleration is called as deceleration. Okay, is it clear till now?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yes.
So this table gives us a very important idea and a frequently asked question, which says what? Can the object be at rest where velocity is 0 and undergoes and it's undergoing acceleration in the same time? The answer is, give an example. The answer is what? The answer is yes, it can. So what is the most famous example? Number 1, when object, يعني خلينا نكتب short sentence, at maximum height of a flight of an object that's thrown up, where acceleration equals v equals 0. In this case, v equals 0, and the acceleration equals what? Equals negative g, which is negative 9.81 meter per second squared. طبعا neglecting air. Neglecting air. If I ask you what is the acceleration of gravity when the object is at maximum height, the object stops for an instant. The object stops for an instant because this is a maximum height. And any maximum displacement, maximum height, these two expressions means the velocity equals 0 for an instant. Put this in your mind. Any maximum displacement, any maximum height, or any meaning like this, it means the object stops for an instant. Okay, at least for an instant. Okay, if it opposes its direction, okay, it means it's stopped for an instant. Well, so if I ask you, what about the acceleration of the free fall? In this case, if we neglect air resistance, you will say it's 9.8. And it's downward. So if we use the convention of downward means negative, so we will give it the negative 8 sign. So there is an acceleration, where is and in the same time, when the acceleration, when the velocity equals 0. I hope it's clear, inshallah.
Yes, miss, that's clear.
Now, after saying that, we will talk about a very important point. Now we have two paths to go in one of them. But according to my experience, tells me that the first one that I'll take is the preferable one. Okay, what are the two paths? The two are, number one, to talk about the kinematics equation first, then go to the graphing motion, okay? And sometimes some references make the opposite, may explain graphing motion first, then talk about the kinematics equation, okay? According to my experience, to take the kinematics equation first is extremely better, okay? So we will say this, then this. Let's talk about the kinematics equation. And I can say that this is the very beginning of the kinematics, okay? It doesn't mean what we said was not important. No, because without what we said, okay, no formula and no problem and nothing of the following will be understood, okay? Yalla. Now we will talk about the kind of acceleration, okay? So the acceleration also may be fixed or constant acceleration or uniform acceleration, okay? And can be where uniform acceleration, where the acceleration is constant, okay? And the second situation is the acceleration is variable, which means the acceleration is not constant, okay? Now we will study the uniformly accelerated motion. Uniformly accelerated motion. That means two things together, okay? One of them is not mentioned in the majority of the books, by the way. خلاص? Not because they don't know it, but because they lose it. حقيقي, they lose it, okay? The uniformly accelerated motions are motions with constant acceleration plus in the same time. Yani plus means in the same time, okay? Plus straight path. Okay. This uniformly accelerated motion is expressed by the following variables. Describe motion. These variables are number one, VO. Number two, V. Number three, T. Number four,
Acceleration.
sorry?
Acceleration.
Acceleration. Number five, X.
Position.
X or delta X. And I'll know now what's the difference between them. What's the difference between X and delta X? Okay, X and delta X. And also what's the difference between T and delta T? So D or delta T or delta X. Well, what is VO? VO is the initial velocity. Initial velocity. Well, can it be variable for the same motion? يعني for the same motion, for one motion, can I say that the initial velocity is variable?
No.
No. هي initial. Initial one,
Yeah.
initial.
Yeah, it can't be varied.
It's only one, no more. Okay, so this is fixed. This is a very important point. This is fixed for the motion. This is fixed value for a single motion طبعا. So what about V? I don't like to say it's final velocity. I prefer to say that it's velocity, or let's say final, okay, but final velocity at time t. يعني in instantaneous velocity يعني. It's the final velocity at time t. Okay, because the يعني when I say the, and also initial velocity, by the way, I don't like to say initial velocity. Initial velocity doesn't mean the first velocity of the object, because the first velocity, sometimes it makes some misconception. So the student may say, okay, so how can initial velocity be something else which is not zero? And for example, this is a car. The initial velocity of a car is what? Is zero, because it was in the morning, it was in front of house, and the guy who's driving, okay, jumped into it and it goes. So the initial velocity is 0. No, initial velocity means the initial velocity when I start studying this motion, not the very beginning velocity. Also the final velocity. Final velocity, it gives the sense of that the car will stop after this instant, okay? But final velocity doesn't mean that. Final velocity means the final velocity that the object reached when I'm observing it now, okay, or at the end of the study. I'm not interested in what's happening after that. I'm interested in this time interval. Okay. Delta T, or delta T means T minus T0. Mr. T0 is 0. If T0 is 0, so delta T will be replaced by T, no problem. But sometimes he tells you that when after 2 seconds from the beginning of motion, the velocity was 30 meters per second. Okay. Study what will happen if the acceleration is blah, blah, blah. So he began studying motion at the second, you know, the second 2. Okay. So in this case, T0 equals what? Huh? Are you sleeping?
So can you repeat?
يعني يا جماعة, if T0 equals 0, if we take the measurement from the second 0, okay, it's okay. But if we study, for example, several stages of the motion, okay, the first one is from 0 to 10. The second one is from 10 to 15, okay? So the initial time of the second one is 15. So T0 equals 10, sorry. You get the idea? Well, A is the acceleration. Well, can I say that the acceleration is, so this is the acceleration. Can I say that the acceleration is constant or not? To use the kinematics equation that I'll talk about, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, this is fixed value. Because the condition that we are studying is uniformly accelerated. So the acceleration is fixed value. So I have two fixed values only. The initial velocity and the acceleration. And you have to put this in mind. Well, after that, x and delta x, okay, also delta x can be replaced by x minus x0. And if x0 equals 0, and if the object begins from the origin, it's naturally to remove x0, okay? And in this case, I can write x instead of delta x. So both of delta t and delta x can be replaced by t and x if we begin from 0, okay? You get the idea or not?
Yes. Mister, I have a question.
Further.
Mister, all the variables that you wrote are fixed values?
لا، 2 بس fixed values. Only this.
Still final velocity fixed?
I think there is some like
Mister, the final velocity. It's not fixed?
the final, لا, not fixed. Final velocity changed from an instant to another instant. يعني in other words الأوبجكت بدأ مرة واحدة وخلاص، يعني هو بدأ موشن مرة وخلصنا. لكن الفاينل فيلوسيتي عماله تتغير حسب التايم اللي انا باخده، كل ثانيه في فاينل فيلوسيتي جديده. تمام.
اوكي ماشي.
Well, so these are the variables, and only if acceleration is constant, we use the kinematics equation. So the kinematics equations are valid only if the acceleration equals zero, equals constant. If it's not constant, it's not allowed to use none of them. Okay? Well, so let's see what are these kinematics equations. Number one, V equals V0 plus AT. Two, X equals X0 plus V plus V initial plus V final divided 2 times T. Okay. Number 3. X equals X0 plus half plus V O times T, T or delta T, plus half A T squared. AT squared means acceleration multiplied times T squared. 4 V squared, which is the V final squared, equals V initial squared plus 2 A X minus X0 or delta X. And in addition to these, we will add a very, very, very important formula, which is هم 4 على فكرة، عشان في غلطة معمولة في كتاب برينستون ما اعرفش صلحها في الإصدار الجديد ولا لأ. There is a mistake in Princeton. Okay. طبعا mistake in Princeton بيبقى mistake typing يعني not scientific mistake، لكن it's a mistake first of all. And the 5th one is this one. V average. This means V average, huh? V equals V plus VO divided by two, which means this is V average. The first four formulas are called the kinematics, but the fifth one is not called the kinematics equation. It's not one of them, but it's not applicable except for in one case, which is if the acceleration is constant. So if the acceleration is not constant, you cannot use this formula as a formula to calculate the average acceleration. And this is a very important point to put in mind. Well, طيب, I know that you feel that Mr. In fact, I am annoyed. Okay, why? Because we studied these formulas, okay, but there was not in the way they were not like this. يعني we feel there's something strange. صح ولا لا؟
Yes.
يعني احنا مش ده. Okay, but this is, in fact, this is the expression of AP. Type. To make it easier, let's link this and what we memorize. In fact, we studied that V equals V initial, V final equals V initial plus AT. And X equals half V initial plus V final times T. And X equals V initial T plus half AT squared. A final squared equals V initial squared plus 2AX. Mr. That's what we studied. Okay, so what are these formulas? They are very long. Okay, طيب, let's see how did they came. All what we do here is to replace V final by V. So this is number one. And any X, we replace it by X minus X0. Because this X is delta X, in fact. Okay? And anything and everything will go correct after that. Yeah, let's try. Here it will be V final equals, V equals V O plus, did I write O or I? Tamam. This is VO, huh? Plus A T. That's it. What about X? X equals X minus X0 equals half VI V final, yani V plus VO divided by 2. This is the meaning of half VI V final times T. Okay, so what if we switch this here? It will go with positive. So the formula will be like this. Okay. يا جماعة.
yes miss.
اوكي.
طب مستر بالريد فورميلا ما في اكس انيشال جوا،
ها
بالفورميلا اللي فيها ريد اكس ايكوال هاف في اي بلس في فاينل، اما بالبلو اكس ايكوال اكس انيشال، يعني مختلفين.
ليه بقى؟ لان اصلا دي دلتا اكس، المفروض تكتب دلتا اكس مش اكس، بس احنا بنعتبر يعني we assume that we begin from the origin, so delta x will be equal to x.
اوكي بس مستر نفس الشيء صح؟
نفس الشيء طبعا نفس الشيء.
اوكي ماشي.
بس طبعا انا بشرح لك ال AP expression. اوكي.
تمام.
Here
Sir.
also. نعم.
في الصفحة اللي هي previous page أو formulas, yes, these formulas. You said that the first four, they are for if the acceleration is constant. And the last one,
لا all these.
all these are if the acceleration is constant.
لكن الفيرست فور هم اللي اسمهم kinematics equation.
اوكي.
تمام. طيب. So here the same. This is delta x. So it's x minus x0. And we will put x0 here on the other hand side. So the formula will be x equals x0 plus the remaining part of the formula plus v o t plus half a t squared. Okay, here v squared equals v initial squared, vo squared, sorry, plus 2a. Instead of x, I'll put x minus x0. That's it. And x0 will be removed if you begin from origin. يعني in all cases, be careful. Unless x0 is mentioned or is given value, in the question, remove it, put it 0, unless it's given a value. واضح ولا لا؟ يعني the base is x0 equals 0 unless he gives you a value of x0. Okay, this is a very important point to be observed. Okay, well, so these are the four kinematics equation, okay, that we use. Okay, but in these kinematics equation, you will observe the following. Note that each equation links for quantities of the 5 quantities. احنا قلنا هما كام quantity؟ They are 5 quantities. V, VO, A, T, X or delta X. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In every equation, there is a missed variable, okay, which can't be derived from the equation. يعني مثلا VI, VO, VI equals VO plus AT. What's missed here? Displacement. So I can never find the displacement using this formula. So if the displacement is absent in the question, I'll use the formula where the displacement is absent. Let's have an example. An object starts motion from rest and accelerates to such that it travels ten meters in 10 seconds. Find its final velocity. Number one, we will extract givens. Yalla, let's extract. Tell me, what are the givens? An object starts motion from rest. Is there a given here?
Yes, rest 0.
Yes. What is 0 here?
Initial position.
Yes.
Yeah. Not only initial position and the initial velocity, because it starts from rest. Okay.
Yes.
So V0 equals 0. And accelerates, طبعا the question should mention this condition uniformly. Otherwise, it's not allowed to use these formulas uniformly. Well, such that it travels 10 meters travels 10 meters. Is it x or x0?
X
It's
0.
X.
X.
It's x or delta x totally.
Delta.
So this is delta x totally. Delta x which is x يعني. Okay, so delta x equals 10 meters. Can I say delta x equals 0? Okay, no problem. You can say delta x equals 0. X equals delta x. I don't know, sorry. Can I say x equals delta x equals 10? Yes. Why? Because the initial position is not assigned. Okay. In 10 seconds. So this is what?
Time.
T. Time.
Yes.
Which is t or delta t, because he didn't assign a beginning time. So t or delta t equals 10 meters. Well, so I have VO x t. He's asking about what?
For the V final.
V final. So which formula will I use? The formula that links these four. Type. What's absent here?
Acceleration.
The acceleration is absent. So, استنى كده. It will take longer steps. طب خليني in 10 seconds. لا I'm so sorry يا جماعة معلش. So sorry. Accelerates uniformly so that travel 10 meters. Uniformly, it accelerates uniformly. With rate of 10 meters per second each second. This means 10 meters per second squared, huh? Okay. So here we will replace x and we will put, we will replace t by a. So this is a. I'm sorry. So what's absent here?
Time.
Yes, absent here, the time. So I'll search for the equation by one of two methods. Either by looking for or searching for the equation that connects or that links the four variables mentioned, V, 0, X, A, and V, or by looking for, by searching for the equation that doesn't contain or that doesn't have or include time. And both cases will lead me to the same equation, okay, which is V squared equals VO squared plus 2A delta X. So it will be V equals 0 plus 2 times 10 times 10. So it will be, so V squared equals 200 meters squared per second squared. So to find V, we will take the square root of this. So V will be 50, approximately 70, it's about 50 square root of 2 meters per second. Square root of 2 is 1.4. So it will be approximately 70 meters per second. Okay.
Yes.
So this is the method of solving this kind of equations. But you have to observe a very important point. What is this point? Number one, be careful. Number one, for objects that fall freely. Falling freely means ignoring air drag or resistance. A is equal to negative 9.81 meter per second squared.
Let's say for root of 200, I got 10 root 2.
10 root 2
Yeah, on the
صح.
calculator.
تبقى 14 تبقى 14 صح؟
Yeah, 14.1.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Well, so A equals negative G equals negative 9.8, where G is the free fall, the magnitude of free fall acceleration. Okay, so G means 9.81 meters per second squared, and negative G means negative 9.81 meter per second squared. And we never put the negative in front of the symbol, except for in this case. We put the negative only when we are substituting. Okay, this is the first point. The second point, if طبعا in this case we will use this convention. Positive up, negative down. To use this, we have to use this convention. طيب, if object خلاص, خلينا ناخد example. I'll show a very amazing example. It's horrible example. Horrible. And it's a piece of cake in the same time. It depends on the scenario that you will use. Okay, example. If an object is thrown vertically upwards, with 10 Hmm. Okay, 10 meter per second velocity. Find ماشي. Find the height over the building above it, the object is thrown if it takes 3 seconds to reach the ground just below throwing point. By the way, this is a very famous idea and a very horrible idea. The scenario here says that there is someone who's standing upwards here in a building, and this guy thrown an object from here, where the object falls exactly downwards and reaches the ground at total time equals to 3 seconds. So he's asking about the height of the building. H. Okay, I'll give you the chance to solve this till next period. ولا هلا
Mr. Adi, we can solve it now.
ها ما شاء الله. طب يلا بينا. I can ولا you can؟
We can.
we. ماشي. Okay. طيب. Look. The velocity here, this is VO. It was upward. VO, it was upward. So it was positive and it's given the symbol. Oh, I didn't give you the velocity. طبعا دي كده مستحيل تتحل. Where؟ لا أنا اديتكم الفيلوسيتي. أنا فاكر إني قلتها والله. أهي. It's given here. So the VO equals positive or negative? Positive. 10 meters per second. Why? Because I take this system over science. 10 meters per second. So this is VO. Where is V? Final. I don't use V final. He didn't mention it. So I'll avoid any formula that has V final. Okay, type. Where is X0? Is X0 here? 0.
No.
No, it's not 0. It equals a value, but we can شوف بقى. This is the best feature of physics. We will take X0 as 0 to reduce calculations. So what, Mr.? Where is X final? So this is the beginning point. I put it 0. The final position is this. Oh no, Mr. What are you doing? It's crazy. Yes, it's crazy. This is the final position. Okay, so X final equals what? Equals the height of the building or negative height of the building. Negative height of the building. Are you here? Did you sleep?
Yes, Mr.
Mr. Why didn't bite?
Because the object moves from 0 and goes downwards.
Okay.
Okay. So we assume that the height of the building is h. We give it a symbol h. By the way, we may use x and x final like this type. What is the time? The time is 3, Mr. But this is the time which is moving up, then down. Okay, no problem. The acceleration is constant and the object is moving straight, up then down. So I can comfortably use this acceleration here equals negative g equals negative 9.81. So I write this formula, x equals, not x, because this is, it's silly to use x in this situation. Do you agree with me? Because the motion is along y direction, صح?
Yes.
So we will say y0 and y final. So y equals y0 plus v0 t plus v plus half negative g t squared. Okay, all what we do, we replace the x by y and replace the a by negative g. Okay, and we can easily find that y0 equals 0 plus VO equals 10 and time equals 3 plus negative time equals 9 يبقى 9 حد يحسب لي دي كده negative 9.81 خليها negative 10 5 t squared 9 يعني negative 45 تقريبا. okay يعني taking it 10 for simplification لكن 10 negative 10 so
all of it يعني كلها كده تبقى 1324.
ايه ده؟ are you sure؟ لا
لا معلش
ها؟
10 times.
تمام 45 over 2 تبقى كام؟
كلها تبقى نيجاتيف 14.
نيجاتيف 14 حسبت دي divided by 2
ايوه
ممتاز.
نيجاتيف لا 7.5 معلش sorry.
7 yeah
7.5.
يعني نيجاتيف 7.5 meters. اوكي so
نيجاتيف بس هي عندي عشان
نيجاتيف
جوه
ولا
داون
بوزيتيف؟
صح؟
هي نيجاتيف ولا بوزيتيف طالعه لك؟
لا في الكالكوليتر بوزيتيف.
لو طالعه بوزيتيف يبقى احنا شغالين غلط وش على طول. لا استنى 90 لا هي 45 انا ام سو سوري هي 45 من غير 2 تحت معلش يبقى اللي انت قلته الاول هو اللي صح.
تبقى 10 تساوي نيجاتيف 15
يعني نيجاتيف 15 كله
كله كده نيجاتيف 15.
negative 15 meter. So the height of the building is 15 meters.
ومثل سؤال هو احنا ليه خليناها نيجاتيف 9.81 عشان المفروض 9.81 من غير نيجاتيف عشان هو نزل تحت مش طالع فوق.
ممتاز. This is an amazing question. G is always directed downward. So it's always negative regardless direction of motion. If we use what how?
Yes.
طبعا ان شاء الله when we study the law of conservation of energy we will solve this problem in second inshallah in 1 second the previous problem, but for now this is a horrible problem. Okay, inshallah I mean it's enough for today inshallah Rabbil Alameen. I'll send you the homework to solve it next video inshallah. We will talk about graphing motion. Okay, and inshallah I mean we will talk about the projectile motion or the beginning of projectile motion. Okay, inshallah Azza wa Jal, to finish the kinematics as soon as possible, inshallah. Thank you, everyone. See you next video, inshallah.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. Yeah.